muốn diễn đạt đi, cho nên em cứ nói đi.
I want to question for Ajahn how to I can be continue nature seeing and hearing all day. Yeah. Không có cái ngã, không biết dịch à?
Without atta.
The truth is that life continues as usual. So even if we have never heard the Buddha's teachings, still seeing arises, sees what is visible, hearing arises, hears sound, thinking, different dhammas arise and fall away by conditions. No one continues seeing, no one continues hearing. The same dhammas arise and fall away, even if there is no understanding. So life doesn't change, the seeing doesn't change, the hearing doesn't change, just as it's always been. The difference is that right understanding begins to develop to understand these dhammas as they are, as dhammas, as anatta. So hearing now, I don't continue hearing, I don't do anything. It arises naturally by its conditions and is gone. No one there at all, no thing there at all, just a Dhamma, anatta. So no difference to the hearing or seeing, just the understanding develops little by little, that's all.
Dạ con muốn hỏi là cái thấy mà có chánh kiến trong đấy thì liệu có cái ngã trong đấy không ạ?
So when there is seeing with right view, is there any atta then?
At moments of right view, no atta, because in truth there is no atta. There's no I, no you, no thing. There are just different dhammas. So even if there is no understanding, there is no atta. There has never been atta. There never will be atta, because it's just the imagined idea when wrong understanding arises. So when there's right understanding, it's like opening the curtains. It understands what is truly there, what has always been there. No atta at all, just different dhammas. And when you talk about atta all day, so yes, the ignorance and wrong understanding is so common. So even now, so quickly an idea of something, the flowers there, not just what is visible. Someone here, someone there. So atta ditthi is so very common. But the truth is, there has never been, in reality, people, things, flowers, just different moments of seeing, hearing, and thinking about different colors, different ideas. So life carries on as usual, but understanding begins to penetrate to the truth of what is really here and now.
Your original question, I think, was how can I have less wrong view in a day? Is that right?
Là con có thể duy trì được cái trạng thái mà mình lâu nhất có thể, không có cái ngã trong đấy. Vâng ạ. Bớt đi tà kiến.
She said that I can try to maintain the state of not having any atta
At what moments in a day is there atta, and at what moments in a day is there no atta? So at the moment of seeing, is there atta? At the moment that seeing consciousness experiences visible object, or at the moment that hearing consciousness experiences sound, or at the moment body consciousness experiences hardness through the body. At those moments which are resultant, vipaka citta, is there atta view?
Con thấy là khi mà ở những cái khoảnh khắc mà con phải ra quyết định ấy ạ, thì nó có cái ngã trong đấy ạ.
I find that at the moment I am about to make a decision, the atta is there.
And how do you know atta is there? What is the distinguishing feature of atta
Tại
when
vì
you're about to make a decision?
Tại vì ở khoảnh khắc mà con phải ra quyết định thì nó sẽ không chỉ là một đối tượng là con nữa, mà có rất nhiều những cái đối tượng khác, là có một chúng sinh hữu tình, một chúng sinh vô tình, và rất nhiều. Thì lúc đấy là con phải có cái ngã trong đấy để đưa ra cái quyết định cho mình.
At the moment of making decision, not only I is there, but it's involved. Many other sentient beings are involved. Other people there. So at that moment, the I has to be there and very clear.
I think there are many moments in a day when the idea of I or me is there quite strongly, but they are not necessarily atta view. They could be just attachment, or they could be mana, conceit, or it could be wrong view. So the fact that there is a strong idea of me or I or other being doesn't necessarily indicate the presence of wrong view. So wrong view is having a wrong idea or belief or wrong understanding about what is real. And those moments have their own characteristic, different from the strong moments of I or me, which are conceit or just tanha, craving, attachment. But it's the same applies. It doesn't really matter what is the particular nature of the thoughts of I or me. What's important is whether there is any understanding of a reality that is appearing at the present moment. We all have the idea that there should be less wrong view, because we know that wrong view is among the first kilesa to be eradicated at the moment of stream entry. And wrong view takes one away from the path. It leads one in the wrong direction. But the remedy, if you like, for that is the same. It is the development of understanding of any reality that is appearing at the present moment. And that is the way that all kilesa eventually come to be eradicated. Having a better understanding of the true nature of any reality that is appearing at the present moment. So it's not necessary to think in terms of having less kilesa of a particular kind, because the understanding that is developed will have that effect. That is the nature of understanding, to reduce and eventually eradicate all kilesa. So for the time being, in the meantime, it's more useful to think about what are the realities that might be appearing at the present moment, rather than to think about how can I have less of this or that kilesa. And that's why this morning we were talking about seeing and the object of seeing, hearing and the object of hearing. Is there any understanding of these realities now? If not, what is the use of thinking about having less of this or that kilesa? Because that is just wishful thinking. Cannot bring a positive outcome. And so we come back to reflecting on what the Buddha, as Ajahn said this morning, what did the Buddha say about seeing and hearing, thinking, smelling, tasting, touching, attachment, and yes, wrong view too. He said wrong view was the most dangerous of all the defilements. But he didn't go on to say, therefore you should try to have less wrong view. He just left it at that. Wrong view is the most dangerous of all the defilements. Just in case we get the idea that it's not so harmful because it doesn't cause us to commit any misdeeds like killing or stealing normally. But what the Buddha urged his followers always was to develop understanding of the realities appearing now.
Is there any utter ditthi now? Any wrong idea of self now?
Con nghĩ là con vẫn có, tại vì là con vẫn còn một cái băn khoăn là ví dụ như cái giây phút mà con ra quyết định nên gặp ai, nên đi đâu ấy, thì nó vẫn có cái ngã ở trong.
I think I still have it, and I'm wondering, I'm still not clear about the moment of having to make a decision. I still feel that the I is there.
So when there's the idea that I can maintain no atta, or I can make a decision, what is I? What is I that can maintain anything? What is I that can make a decision?
Con đang nói về cái trạng thái ấy.
Nghe kỹ câu hỏi.
Con có hiểu là cô nói là khi mà mình ra quyết định là có cái tôi trong này, đúng không?
Không, câu hỏi là cái tôi đó nó là cái gì? Khi nào em nói là khi mà tôi quyết định thì có tôi ở đó. Thì cái tôi nào đó là cái gì?
Vâng, cái tôi đấy là cái ngã. Thì con phải nói là khi mà con ra quyết định nó vẫn có cái ngã.
Ý là cái ngã đấy em có thể chỉ ra bản chất của nó là gì, tính chất của nó là gì không?
Là nó cũng có định kiến, nó cũng có những cái thấy về cái đối tượng mà mình cần phải ra quyết định.
She said that the I is there at that moment because there's many preconceived ideas and there's the perception of the the object or the person towards whom we have to make the decision.
Can we say there's a lot of thinking about I in a day? The thinking is real. The I that seems so important that has to make the decision. Is it a reality or is it an idea that the thinking thinks about now?
Hiện tại thì con không ạ. Nhưng cái giây phút mà con vẫn chưa rõ về cái giây phút con ra quyết định. No.
Câu hỏi đặt ra là nó có phải là thực không, cái ngã đấy nó có phải là thực không hay nó chỉ là một cái ý niệm về một cái ngã thôi. Nó có cái gì là thực sự là ngã không hay nó chỉ là một ý niệm là có cái tôi ở đó.
So the thinking is real now. Thinking about flowers, thinking about I making a decision, thinking about maintaining no atta, thinking about lunch, thinking about Hanoi.
Yeah.
Thinking is real, a Dhamma. But I making a decision, Hanoi, the lunch, the flowers, these are all the ideas, the fantasies that the thinking thinks about. So thinking is real, anatta, but no one thinks, no one makes a decision. It's just the fantasy that there is an I that makes decisions, or there is an I that can maintain anything. In truth, just moments of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, arising and falling away, and different mental factors that intend this or that, or pay attention to this or that. But no one there, no one that makes a decision. Just thinking that there is an I that can make a decision. Like now, whether to speak or not, it's just different moments of thinking about I will speak, I won't speak, all by conditions. No atta, no one to do anything, no one to maintain no atta, because no I to do anything at all.
Vậy thì mình có nên đưa ra lựa chọn không ạ?
So should we make choices then?
Now, can you make a choice?
Con có.
Yes.
So, at the moment of making the choice, what is the reality?
Con nghĩ là chánh niệm ấy ạ.
I think sati.
Sati? What about making a choice to eat this fruit and not that fruit? Any sati there?
Với cái thấy của con thì lúc con có, lúc con không.
According to my understanding, sometimes I have sati and sometimes not.
So it's still all about I making a choice, I having sati or I not having a sati. So at all these moments, no sati, no understanding, because it's all the idea of I that sees, I that hears, I that thinks, I that makes choices. What is this I? Can this I be seen? Can this I be heard? Can it be tasted, touched, or just thought about?
Con thấy lúc đấy là giống như là mình có hai cái tôi ấy ạ. Một cái là mình đang đang là làm cái việc đó, còn một cái là mình đang quan sát chính mình khi làm cái việc đó.
It seems that there are a double eye, the eye that is doing something and then another eye is watching or is aware of the eye doing that thing.
So lots and lots of eyes in the day. So what does it mean when the Buddha says that all dhammas are anatta? What does it mean?
Là bản chất là nó các pháp đều vô ngã, thì bản chất nó chỉ là nó thôi ạ.
So in truth, every dhamma is anatta, so it's just what it is.
If every dhamma is anatta and just what it is, where is the I, where is the atta? The double atta, the treble atta, all these attas.
Con nghĩ là cái tôi xuất hiện khi mà mình có cái cảm giác cảm thọ về cái đối tượng kia.
Cảm thọ về đối tượng kia.
Hoặc là một cái nhận xét đánh giá về cái đối tượng kia.
So that the I arises or appears when there's some judgment, thinking about assessment about the other.
That's thinking about it, thinking about imaginary I that rises. Because actually only dhammas arise and fall away. That which is imagined I that's making a judgment is just the idea that is thought about. The thinking arises and falls away, but that which is imagined or thought about is just the fantasy, just the illusion, not the reality.
And when there's making a judgment about others, that is likely to be conceit rather than wrong view, because that is the typical description of conceit. One is waving the banner of one's own values, one's own standards, and applying those standards to another person. And this shows, I think, that we can't just say if there's a thought of I, it's wrong view, because wrong view has a different characteristic to conceit. And only the person who can know the difference between those two mental factors would be able to know for sure the exact nature of those moments. So when making a decision, you keep coming back to this example, a strong idea. Would you give an example of what you mean, that when you make a decision there's a strong idea of self with wrong view?
Ví dụ như là hôm nay con đến phải đưa ra quyết định gặp hai vị thầy, thì không biết mình nên gặp vị thầy nào, tại vì hai vị thầy đều là vị thầy mình đáng kính, đáng học.
Like today, I had to make the decision which teacher to see, because there are two teachers and both are very respectable teachers. So that's an example.
Where is the wrong view in that?
Con cảm thấy khi con có tà kiến là con vẫn phải suy nghĩ để ra quyết định.
The wrong view is that I still have to think in order to make the decision.
Having to think in order to make a decision is not wrong view as I understand it, but so we have to come back and be more precise about the different kinds of kilesa. Of course, most of our thinking moments are agusala in a day. But why should we particularly be concerned about whether this moment is wrong view or conceit or attachment or craving?
Tại vì nếu mà mình có một cái thấy mà như bà có giảng buổi sáng ấy ạ, nếu mà có một cái thấy mà nó không thuần khiết ấy ạ, thì nó là một cái thấy tà kiến. Con không biết có hiểu sai.
I don't know whether my understanding is correct or not, but I think that this morning Ajahn taught us about seeing. So pure seeing should be without any ideas of self.
Well, as we were saying earlier, at the moment of actually seeing, that is experiencing visible object or hearing sound, that moment, resultant consciousness, vipaka citta, no wrong view. But in the mind or processes that follow, there will be different kinds of agusala. Perhaps I'll let Ajahn add some further comments since you are referring back to something she said this morning.
Can you see now?
Con có thấy rõ hơn trước một chút ạ.
I can see a little better now.
At the moment of seeing what is visible now, seeing color, can you see?
Hiện tại thì con đang tập trung vào cái thấy trong pháp về cái mà con muốn làm rõ.
At this moment, I'm focusing on the seeing in the Dhamma way.
So when it's I am focusing, I am seeing, it's wrong understanding, and it could be understood that it's the wrong understanding of utter, the idea of I am doing, I am focusing, I am seeing, because it's just seeing which sees, not I am seeing. It's just thinking which thinks, not I am thinking, I am focusing.
Thank you.
The idea of I is very, very deep-rooted.
Shall it be time to begin again? Because no matter how much we have heard about what Buddha said, what about the understanding of just one word of truth, which is so very subtle, beyond anyone can imagine? Seeing. What is it? No one knows, even it's there right now. So what is real now? What is real now? Begin again. Is there any moment real or not real?
Sáng con cũng có nghe bà giảng ấy ạ. Bất cứ cái gì mà nó sinh thì nó đã diệt ngay lúc đấy đó.
Studying Dhamma is studying what is there right now. to understand why it's not anything. And Buddha said, Dhamma, not anyone or anything at all. So what does it mean, Dhamma? What does it mean, Dhamma?
Pháp có nghĩa là gì?
Pháp là tất cả mọi thứ xung quanh mình được thấy ạ.
Dhamma is everything around us which is seen.
That's the idea. But the question is, what is there now? Is there anything real now? Or is there anything now?
Con hiểu là bản chất là không có cái gì là thật ạ.
I think that in truth nothing is real.
So there's nothing. Not real. How can it be a what is there?
Có tất cả các pháp nhưng không có ai, không có gì cả.
What?
There are dhammas but no one, no thing.
That's the thinking, the idea. But what is there now? Is it no one? Not anything at all? Not yet. Because no understanding enough to let go the idea of something. No matter what is there, when there's no understanding of the truth of it, it is something. Is it right? Is it right? Something each moment. No understanding of the truth of what is really there at all. Just the idea. Even about that which is now seeing. But Buddha taught about the truth, the very subtle truth of each reality. That's why considered to truth of what is there as it hasn't been known before at all, before hearing the Buddha's word. But now is the word of the enlightenment. He just taught about the truth of what is real at any moment, including seeing, thinking, idea, and everything. All by conditioned. Just whatever arises is conditioned to arise. Consider that. Is it true? Who knows that? Each moment is conditioned. No matter attachment, aversion, clinging, or whatever. No matter is this or that. So now just talk about one moment at a time in order to understand the truth of what is there, because it's so real. It's now just a moment. Don't mix this moment with other moments. So just one moment now. Shall we talk about it? One moment now. What is that? One reality in one moment only. What is there? Please. So many moments now. So just what is there in a moment. Anything.
Câu hỏi cho em.
Con hiểu ý bà rồi. Tại vì là khi mà con có trả lời hết câu thì con đã sang khoảnh khắc khác rồi. Cái thấy của con nó không phải là cái thấy trước đó con thấy lúc bà hỏi.
So when I barely finish my answer, that is already gone. So like seeing
No, I
is
didn't.
not the same.
I didn't ask what gone at all. Just is there anything in a moment right now? To be truthful.
Dạ. Là con thấy con đang đứng hỏi bà.
That's me standing and asking questions.
Many moments. There cannot be the understanding of many moments at all without understanding the truth of what is there in just a moment.
Em có hiểu ý không? Tại vì khi mà em nói như vậy là nói một cái rất là dài rồi. Bây giờ Achan muốn là trong từng khoảnh khắc có cái gì? Câu hỏi là có cái gì ở trong một khoảnh khắc không? Có cái gì là thực trong một khoảnh khắc không?
Con nghĩ là không. Chỉ có cái thấy lúc đấy thôi ạ.
Tức là có cái thấy hay là không có cái thấy?
Có cái thấy ạ.
There's seeing.
Okay. It means that no understanding of seeing yet. Is that right? Begin to know. Is there any understanding of seeing? Just heard about it. But it's there by condition. Is that right? Without the eye, without that which impinges on the eye, can there be moment of seeing right now or then, anytime? Begin to understand what is that. Just one reality which appears at that very moment. So now, what appears? Different question to think about, whether that is the understanding of what we have heard about seeing. What appears now? Different from what is there, right? What is there is no understanding. That's why begin again, because it's now that can it be understood when we talk about it. So now, a little more understanding. What appears at moment of seeing?
Câu hỏi.
Con hiểu là nếu không có cái thấy thì nó vẫn ở đấy.
Hỏi là cái gì xuất hiện ở khoảnh khắc thấy mà.
Now it appears. So what is it?
Là cái
Which appears?
Các pháp ạ.
Các pháp à? Dhammas. She said.
I don't know what do you mean by Dhamma, because all are Dhammas.
Nói thế chung chung quá đúng không?
Vâng. Nếu mà cái thấy bằng nhãn căn của con ạ, thì nó vẫn có cái tôi trong đấy.
Đang nói về cái xuất hiện đối với cái thấy mà. Ở khoảnh khắc thấy thì cái gì xuất hiện? Khi thấy thì thấy cái gì? Hiện giờ cái gì đang thấy được thấy qua mắt?
Thì qua mắt con thì con thấy thấy hội trường.
Okay, through my eyes, this meeting room appear.
Okay. Be truthful from the very beginning in order to understand that ultimate truth. What did you say again? What appears now? The meeting room? Really?
Gần nhất trong nhãn căn của con là con thấy có các sư, có Lãng Hoa và có bà và mọi người.
Closer to that, than that, closer to my eyes, I can see the different sisters, the flowers.
In a moment, just a moment, one moment only. We just talk about one moment.
Em đã được học một chút nào về cái gì thấy, cái gì được thấy chứ?
Trong tâm con thì cái thấy của con là con tự thấy mình đang cố thấy một cái gì đấy.
She said that in my mind, I can see that I force myself to see something.
I didn't ask about you, whether you try or not, but I just talk about what appears now at moment of seeing. Because there must be seeing on and on and on, endlessly. But there's no understanding of seeing right now. So how can there be the moment of understanding what is seen any time in life? Because now, what appears, that which is seen, right? Not just all Dhammas, but only one Dhamma. Only one Dhamma. The sound cannot appear at moment of seeing. So at moment of seeing, in truth, just in one moment, it cannot be this room at all. begin to be truthful from the very beginning in order to have right understanding of reality. If there's nothing arises, how can there be this room? But in truth, nothing can arise by its own, out of the blue. There must be conditions for whatever arises. Attachment, anger, or just very slight irritation must depend on conditions. And when there is no understanding of the truth of each moment, the arising and falling away so rapidly comes to be something by the appearance of nimitta, shape and form, succeeded from each moment, the rapidity of the arising and falling away. But each one is different in each moment, never be the same at all. So what is we take for life? See, when we talk about life, it seems like everyone understands what is it, life. But in truth, what is life? Closer to the truth. Not just the word life. Human beings' life, dogs' life, cats' life. But what is life? Just life. Not dogs or cats, but just life. What is it? Are we talking about the truth, which is not known? The just absolute truth, ultimate truth, of just one reality at a time, because it's real. This moment seeing is real, and that which is seen is real, but no understanding. What is it at all? Until the enlightened one, out of his wisdom, compassion, no one can understand the subtle moment right now, arising and falling away. But the truth has to be the truth. It is conditioned to arise and it's gone instantly. No one knows. But learn to understand the way it is, not the way it appears to ignorance, attachment, and wrong understanding. Who is standing now? Who? Say, someone or I. But in truth, what is there? What is there? And what is the main one? The great power condition the world or life. Without it, nothing can appear, no world, no idea at all. Not as now, just one reality at a time. So learn to understand just one reality, to have more confidence of the truth that we live before hearing about the truth. Everyone lives in the world of darkness, so dark, so deep, with ignorance and attachment, no understanding of the ultimate truth of this moment. It's not there. As soon as it has arisen, it's gone. By conditions. It has arisen by condition. As soon as it has arisen, it's gone. No condition to make it last at all. Is this true? Just learn to understand who realized this truth. Because each word is so real, but the truth is hidden even right now. From eons uncountable eons, it's there, piled up, accumulated on and on, from birth until death, if there's no understanding of the truth, which is there so real to be studied, to understand the truth of what sees and what is seen. Anytime when there's right understanding, it gets firmer and firmer. Satya Parami never change, that it is so very subtle because it's now arising and falling away, unknown, without hearing, considering what is it which cannot be taken for anyone or anything at all, because they are all gone instantly. Is there any attachment? It is, and it's gone. At moment of anger, it's not attachment. That's why learn to understand what is there in life, what is taken for life, and life is so short or long depending on conditions. So just born and die without any understanding or with understanding en route. Even so very little, it can be cultivated when there is any moment of understanding only. If not, it is the same, ignorance, attachment, no understanding of this moment as no one and no thing, only a moment of that which arises, experiences, or appear as something all the time. But in truth, nothing. Nothing, and then something, and then nothing. Before seeing, there's no seeing. After seeing, no seeing. Each reality, even right now, begin to understand. What we are learning is to understand the truth of what is there right now, little by little. To be firm ground or foundation to understand what will be there in the future as the object of enlightenment, because it's just exactly right now. So there is right understanding and there is ignorance. Now one knows what is ignorant, what moment is ignorant, and what moment is right understanding. Just talking about seeing is so true, but no one there. And what is seen is not that which is now appearing. Something seen. In truth, only one reality among all realities that can be seen. Only one. That which is seen now. Close one's eyes. There can be hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, no seeing. Is it true? No one can make it arise at all. What is there is conditioned by so many conditions unknown. If there is no enlightenment of the truth of each one, deeper and deeper, more subtle, on and on and on. No doubt about the way to realize the truth is the understanding in a moment, from moment to moment. The moment without understanding cannot understand the truth of what is there now. That's why no eye can do anything. At moment of wishing, hoping to know the shortcut and so on, can it be the way? No understanding. Ignorant cannot understand the truth of what is there right now. So there can be one's own understanding. What is this moment? Not only seeing, there's moment of no understanding, of seeing. What appears followed by ignorance and other akusala, unwholesome realities. Who knows that in a moment what are there as conditions? And while sometimes it sees pleasant objects, and sometimes so unpleasant object, can anyone choose, select what to be seen? It's there already instantly before anyone can think about it, by conditions, karma and other reality, other conditions. That's why the more understanding of the truth of a moment, a reality, is the moment of letting go, wrong understanding, taking what is there as something from birth, in truth. What is there now gone? And since it's so real, it can be known directly, but not the level of understanding intellectually about it. That's why right understanding develops on and on and on by conditions, not by I try today so hard, many hours and so on. Impossible. That's why have confidence of Dhamma. What is real is conditioned to arise. But there's no understanding. For example, what is seen now? Only one reality. But it seems like so many moments of what is there, seeing and hearing and thinking, they cannot arise together. Just one moment of that which arises, experiences only one object by anotherness, not knowing before about next moment what it will be, what is there. Just like now, it's not known before. Is this Dhamma and anatta? All Dhammas are anatta. No matter how much we learn about anything, it's the way to understand it. It's Dhamma and anatta until it's fully developed. What does it mean? According to what Buddha taught for 45 years. So we learn just one reality at a time. No one understands. And this is the only way to realize the truth. Great patience, not to be I can do, or I will do, or I do. It's wrong from the very beginning. And it's so dangerous not to understand the truth of the Buddha's word. Because he had realized the truth. Otherwise, who will say just as we heard now? It's only one person, the enlightenment. So now, understand more about the virtues of the Buddha. Without understanding, it seems like we respect the Buddha, but who's he and respect what? But at moment of understanding the truth, beginning to know his virtues so great, much more than anyone can imagine, beyond imagination. Even this moment is, in truth, beyond imagination. Arises and falls away, only one at a time. So, what is the real world? Because now the world of so many things at once, but in truth only one reality. Only, see. It means that what are they now gone when it's so true, realizing the truth of one moment, of one reality. So firm, it's not just the word, it's the truth. So when it's so true, it can be realized. The arising and falling away, different realities succeeding from now to then, from moment to moment, is this life. Without the reality which arises and experiences an object, no life. What we take for the rose cannot see, cannot experience anything at all. That's why learn to analyze what is taken for something permanent, like a rose. In truth, what is it? Little by little, firmer and firmer confidence of the truth. Otherwise, it's not right understanding. It's one's own idea about this and that, but not understanding what is there now. It's not the word, but it's the truth. And what is the nature of seeing? See, we say citta. What is it? And why is citta not cetasika? Different words, different realities. Citta cannot be cetasika, and cetasika cannot be citta either. That's why we learn to understand the truth of this moment.
Can you decide what will be seen now? Can you decide what will be heard now? Can you decide to have pleasant feeling now and now and now? Can you decide anything? Or can we say the seeing arises by conditions and sees whatever color appears? Hearing arises by conditions and hears whatever sound appears. And thinking arises by conditions, thinks about I, or thinks about the flowers, or thinks about the meeting room. If there's no thinking, is there any meeting room? If there's no memory of meeting room, is there any thinking about a meeting room? Can a meeting room really be seen or only thought about now? Points to consider to begin to get closer to understanding Dhamma now as anatta, not I can decide, I can make it happen, I can choose. But each one, each seeing, each color seen, each hearing, each sound heard arises by different conditions and gone, not in my control at all. Can I decide to be happy all day? To have no confusion, no boredom, no tiredness? Or can we say all these dhammas arise by conditions? The attachment, the confusion, the seeing, the hearing, unexpectedly. All anatta.
Yes, thank you so much.
Cảm ơn em.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ajahn and Master.
Em thấy có chị Hà ở đây. Chị Hà cũng có câu hỏi nào muốn hỏi không? I think because I see a friend with whom we usually have the discussion in Vietnamese, but she lives in Australia. And back then she used to have many questions, so I think it's an opportunity for her to ask Ajahn and John and Sarah her question in English. Trước khi nói tiếng Anh thì chị có thể nói tiếng Việt cho mọi người cùng nghe được nhé. Dạ, cảm ơn chị.
Con cũng xin chào Ajahn và John and Sarah. Con cũng có duyên condition, tức là có cái duyên lành là ngày hôm nay đang ở Hà Nội và có dịp để dự pháp đàm ngày hôm nay thì it's very good conditions that I'm in Hanoi by accident today and I can attend the Dhamma talk by Ajahn and John and Sarah. And con thì cũng nghe Dhamma Talk ở Việt Nam, Dhamma Home từ Sydney bằng tiếng Việt thì xuyên suốt trong những cái buổi pháp đàm thì luôn luôn là có một sự nhắc nhở về vô ngã. Và con nói chung thì con cũng hiểu về giáo lý thì cũng có thể là hiểu về lý thuyết, nhưng mà để về nghiệm chứng thì con cũng nghĩ là con cũng còn chưa nghiệm chứng được nhiều, cho nên là con cũng chỉ muốn đến để nghe thêm, để nhắc nhở thêm về những cái sự thật đó. So actually throughout the teaching, I think the main word is anatta. I think I can understand in theory, and sometimes at some moment I can realize it, but not fully. Like as John said that during the day, a lot of strong view. I think. So I just, the main purpose here is to listen to other teaching and reminders about the truths. So yeah, so that's all for me. Yeah.
Perhaps I could just say a few words briefly before Sarah and Ajahn speak. On your comment that the main word in the teachings is anatta. Yes, it's possible to say that because, as many have pointed out, the characteristic of anatta is unique to the Buddha. Other people have taught about impermanence, anicca, and unsatisfactoriness, dukkha. But only a Buddha reveals the truth of anatta. On the other hand, I think it's also possible to say that the main word in the teachings is understanding, because it is understanding that is the path of development leading to enlightenment. And enlightenment means seeing things with penetrating understanding that is not available to others. And we can also consider that the akusala, the defilement of wrong view of self and all kinds of wrong view are eradicated at stream entry, the first stage of enlightenment. But that is not the final destination, if you like. There is still more development of understanding needed beyond the stream, the path of stream entry when wrong view of self is eradicated. So for that reason also, I think we can say that the main theme of the teaching is understanding. It is understanding of Dhamma's realities, individual realities, such as the seeing, the hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and also all the wholesome and unwholesome mental factors. Whatever is appearing now can be the object of that understanding. But in particular, it's the understanding of the characteristic of anicca, dukkha, anatta that is to be developed. And as I was saying, even past stream entry, those three characteristics are further understood. And the understanding of those three characteristics has to be further developed because they are what really represent the true nature of life as we know it in samsara. We think that we are fortunate to be alive, and particularly fortunate to be able to hear the Dhamma and to discuss it with other people who share that understanding, and that's true also. But we need to keep in mind that the Buddha said that not for a moment did he praise life, existence in samsara. Not for a single moment did he praise existence. And we sometimes forget that what is the purpose of developing understanding is to understand more clearly the nature of this existence of life. Not to become a better person necessarily, not to have less kilesa, but to have a deeper understanding of life as it really is. So it's important to appreciate that we do live in a world of atta, as Ajahn explains. We live in a world of concepts. We live in a world of nimitta. But the way beyond those worlds is the development of understanding.
And so quickly the idea that I can understand it, I can see, I can think about it, I can decide, sometimes I can realize it, comes in so quickly, but actually it's understanding that just arises by conditions, performs its task, and it doesn't matter how little it is. So wishing to get more understanding, wishing to get more results, hinders the development of understanding. It has to develop very naturally by conditions. So forget about ideas that sometimes I can realize it, sometimes I can understand, because this is I again, and patience to let the path develop naturally is very, very important.
Thank you very much.
Is there I now?
No, there's thinking.
No, keep on. Not you who make decision, not you at all. Different plan or ideas. All are dhammas, different dhammas. This is the confidence of the truth. And the dana barami never change. Dhamma is Dhamma. What is seeing?
Seeing just arrives
Now.
now, yeah.
So it's beginning to understand what seeing is right now. To understand it when the other moment seeing is there to be known. That's why seeing is there now to be known, to be object of considering whether what is it. So again, what is seeing? Not just no eye, but what is it? Beginning to get closer and closer to understand seeing. What is it? Why not?
Because it just disappears immediately. Like, so it's just thinking about it, just thinking about what is seen.
It's there, but it does not appear until there is the understanding of it is there, and it's different from that which is seen. So what is the difference between seeing and that which is seen?
Chị Tâm có thể giải thích thêm cái câu hỏi của bạn. What is seeing and what is being seen?
Sự khác biệt giữa cái thấy và cái được thấy.
Seeing and the object of seeing. What is seen?
Seeing is just, I think the object of seeing is just physical, and the seeing is, I think it's a mental process. So, yeah, I think it's just a physical thing and then the mental.
Does it appear?
I think it's a bit tricky to answer.
The truth is the truth. Does it appear now? To know whether it appears or not is now, this moment. What appears? Does seeing appear?
In a moment, yes. But now, no.
Seeing arises. So two different words, arises and appears. So seeing arises and falls away now. When it arises, it sees the visual object and gone. Does it appear means, is it the object of understanding now?
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, the second question is the object of understanding. Yes.
So is seeing understood now?
Yes.
And Ajahn is saying, really?
Does it appear?
I'm sorry.
Does seeing appear?
No.
See, confident?
Like you said before, it's thought about.
Yep.
Thought about, but that's different from it appears.
Yep.
Will it appear?
It's in the eye.
Tức là nó có thể một lúc nào đấy nó có thể xuất hiện không?
Analyze, but
The question is, will it appear? What appears?
Thinking. I think I'm a bit confused about seeing and thinking.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Only when there's a firm understanding of seeing, that seeing is not that which appears. Is seeing ever appear? To be truthful.
I think seeing is like a Dhamma, so it can appear.
But the question that when will it appear?
I don't know,
Why not?
because it by conditions.
Okay, what condition it to appear?
It doesn't depend on me to decide. So I think it depends on a lot of conditions and that I cannot control of. That there's no so no one can control it.
Can it appear to ignorance?
Yes.
Ignorant doesn't know what seeing is. So how can seeing appear to ignorance?
So there's a lot of seeing arising.
One moment, please.
One moment.
Seeing, how many moments it's seeing.
So if there's no understanding, then there's ignorance.
What level?
Sorry, what level?
What level of understanding, what degree of understanding?
By Space and will listen to your teaching.
Because now we understand what seeing is, but
Đấy nó xuất hiện thì chỉ có nhắc đến hiểu biết thì Ajahn Khuyên nói là ở mức độ nào của hiểu biết thì cái thấy xuất hiện. Ở mức độ hiểu biết nào thì cái thấy mới xuất hiện với hiểu biết.
If we're talking about the visible object, even the moments of ignorance that arise very quickly after seeing, experience that visible object which hasn't fallen away yet. But with seeing it's different because it's never the object of the sense door process. The seeing arises and is gone. It can be thought about with ignorance. But when thinking about seeing with ignorance, it's not the Dhamma that is the object, it's an idea of seeing roses or something like this. So it can be the object of ignorance only when it's an idea, not when it's the reality of seeing. So seeing it cannot appear in the sense door process. It can only appear in a mind door process as the object of understanding. And we can say usually in the beginning, there's understanding of what is seen or what is heard. But the understanding of seeing doesn't arise in the beginning. So understanding has to develop on and on before it understands the characteristic of seeing when it appears. Is that a little clearer?
Yes.
So is there a clear conceptual understanding now of the difference between moments of seeing and moments of thinking about the seeing?
Yes.
And if there is not a clear conceptual understanding of that difference, is it possible for there to be awareness and understanding of either of those realities?
I think it will be very difficult to develop understanding.
It would, because one would have misunderstanding of how it is, and it would be very difficult to develop understanding if one had a misconception of what is meant by moment of seeing and moments of thinking about what has been seen and so forth. And so this is why we do talk about these different realities that are likely to be arising at the present moment, not always appearing, but this is the starting point, if you like, has to be the starting point to have a correct conceptual grasp of the Buddha's teaching about these things before there can be even beginning levels of understanding arising.
Usually when someone is new to listening, it seems quite obvious. Oh yes, I know about seeing and hearing, and I can think, and I know something is seen and something is heard. But the more listening, the more considering, the more understanding, and the more appreciation there is that actually nothing is known at all. And what we took for being understanding of seeing and hearing is just an idea about it, thinking about it. So the Dhammas we've been discussing today are very subtle and deep, not so simple. Not I that sees, I that hears, I that makes decisions. Just different Dhammas arising by different conditions, each one gone.
And I remember when you used to attend the discussion with the Vietnamese group in Sydney. You used to raise many questions on, I think, a little bit similar to what the lady had raised, like whether there's an I when we make a decision. Without an I, is it possible that we live this life? And so I don't know whether you still have this line of inquiry or it's changed now.
I think the idea of I has changed. So I think there's more understanding about anatta, and there's no I making decision or making choice. Yeah, I just a bit confused about like arising and appearing. That I think it's just words, but to develop the understanding about that, I think need to dig down more about the it's this word, and so I think I still need to reflect more on that.
Yes, they are words that describe different realities. So the arising is one thing and the appearing another, but as you say, it takes time to appreciate the significance of the distinction that is being made there. So,
More listening, more considering, more confidence in what is right,
exactly.
even if the one gets mixed up with the words, and more confidence that no I that can make a decision, no I that can choose to go left or right, to drink this or that, because each Dhamma's conditioned. We hope to see you in Sydney one time.
Yes, surely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Keung, you should ask a lot of questions on appearing and arising. I don't know whether you would like to ask, or is it all clear? I think maybe many of the audiences would like to hear more on this point.
I'm nothing and I had nothing. Yeah, dịch được ạ. Yeah, I concerned this topic many times, but after this I feel a little bit confused that seeing only appear to the panya, but when sometimes we talk about the visible object can appear not just to panya, it can also appear to the ignorance. Is this correct?
In a sense door process, after seeing what chittas arise and what are the objects of those chittas.
Rupa, the visible object.
The visible object. So after two more vipaka chittas and one kiriya chitta, then kusala or akusala chittas arise. So if akusala chittas arise, ignorance must be there. And what is the object of those chittas?
Visible object.
Visible object. So the visible object is, we can say, is experienced or appearing to the chitta with ignorance at those moments.
So can we say appearing mean experiencing?
It is experiencing. It is, yes.
Okay.
But in the case of seeing, for example, it can only be experienced with understanding because it cannot be the object like visible object in the idle process. So we can say in the idle process the visible object is experienced and in that sense it appears. But if we're talking about seeing, it cannot be the object of ignorance. So it is experienced or it appears to understanding only.
Yeah.
Because when there's thinking about it, it's an idea, not the seeing, the characteristic of seeing itself.
Yeah, thank you.
Dạ, cho con xin hỏi lại chỗ này ạ. Như vậy là thời điểm của tâm nhãn thức xuất hiện thì sinh khởi, hiện tại thì nó sinh khởi thì nó chỉ có thể xuất hiện khi trí tuệ ở mức độ kinh nghiệm trực tiếp. Nhưng mà trong nguyên cái tiến trình của ngũ môn thì đối tượng thị giác có thể xuất hiện ngay với vô minh, là những cái khoảng khắc ở trong đồng tốc thì nó cũng xuất hiện với tâm vô minh đó. Thì cái chỗ con vừa nghe mà bà Sarah trả lời bạn Cương thì không biết chỗ hiểu của con có đúng không ạ?
She said that I just want to make sure my understanding is correct. Did you just say that seeing, for example, it does arise, but it usually doesn't appear only when there's the understanding of level of direct understanding that seeing can appear? That's one thing. And the second thing is about the visible object. So the visible object is experienced in the sense door process, and in that sense door process, there are the kusala, the akusala chittas. So we can say that visible object appear to ignorance. Is that what you said?
First of all, with a visible object, it is experienced. It appears to each chitta in the I-door process. So it's the object of experience of the seeing, the chitta before the seeing, the vipaka chittas after the seeing, the kiriya chitta, kusala or akusala. It can be the object of kusala chittas also in the I-door process. But so quickly. So it can be the object of kusala or akusala chittas in the I-door process. But with seeing, it can't be the object in the I-door process. So it can only be the object of thinking. It can be the object of wise thinking. Like now, there can be right thinking about seeing, but it's still the idea of seeing. It's not the actual reality of seeing. But only, so it is understanding of seeing, but it's actually the idea of seeing. And understanding can develop to directly understand the characteristic of seeing.
Chắc con vẫn hơi lơ mơ chỗ này, tức là thời điểm của cái thấy bây giờ nó chưa phải là cái hiểu biết thấy về, và kể cả những khoảng khắc bây giờ trao đổi về nó thì vẫn chỉ là các khái niệm về thực tại, được hiểu ở cái mức độ khái niệm về thực tại. Nhưng mà cái thời điểm của trong nguyên lộ trình tâm thì nhãn thức á, thì đối tượng thị giác lại xuất hiện với những cái tâm bất thiện, tham hoặc là sân ở trong đồng tốc á, thì như vậy chưa thấy rõ cái sự xuất hiện ở trong các tâm khác trong lộ trình ngũ môn ạ.
Okay, so she said that like now when we discuss about seeing, for example, it's only the idea or the concept about seeing. It's not the characteristic of seeing. But when you talk about the visible object appears in the sense door process, she's still not clear what appear means at that moment.
The I-door process, it just means it's experienced by all the chittas in that process. Yeah.
That is the visible object. How about the other Jittasika? Say Loba or Dosa. I mean the mental factor, Chitta.
Does Loba appear now, or is it an idea of my attachment, or an idea about Loba, or is it the characteristic of the reality itself that appears now?
Idea.
So it depends on understanding, and it depends whether it's understanding of an idea rightly or wrongly, or whether it's the firm understanding of the characteristic of Loma as Dhamma. Because usually when people say, oh yes, a few moments ago there was annoyance or anger or attachment, but it's still the idea of my annoyance or my anger or my clinging. So that's why the understanding has to be developed to truly understand what is there.
So
Like now.
can I say the mental factor or the nama only being appear to the panya, not ignorance?
Yes, to panya. Yes, because to ignorance it's nothing known. Yes.
Only
So usually when appear uses it's in the context of understanding.
Okay. So only 5 sense object being appear to the
Sense door
ignorance
processes. Or we can say that the loba, appears to ignorance, but it just means it's the object of ignorance.
But in other contexts, we do sometimes say that, for example, seeing appears, but contact doesn't appear, for example. On some contexts.
Yes, well, sometimes the word appear is used in a general sense, and we're not. But when we're talking about specific moments, and as Ajahn is talking about whether something appears and is known as it is, so in that context, yeah. But
And in that context, if we say seeing appears but contact doesn't, it means there is understanding of seeing. But in this conversation, Ajahn was saying, are you sure? Does it really appear?
And on the appearing, we are talking about the nimitta of the reality, right? The mental factor.
Where's the nimitta? Yes. If it's not the object in the sense door, it's always the nimitta of the Dhamma, because the seeing has fallen away. So even in the first mind door process, when it is the characteristic of seeing which is experienced, it's still the nimitta of seeing. So even at that moment.
Dạ vâng, thời gian pháp đàm của buổi chiều nay đã hơi quá một chút rồi. Đối với ngày mai thì chúng ta có một chút thay đổi là buổi pháp đàm buổi chiều sẽ bắt đầu vào lúc 2 giờ ạ. Thay cho là 1:30 như hôm nay thì sẽ bắt đầu vào lúc 2 giờ. Và chiều nay vào lúc 5:30 thì nếu như ai muốn có thể tới phòng Ajahn sẽ có một quãng thời gian khoảng độ 45 phút đến 1 tiếng để trao đổi cho những ai muốn gặp Ajahn thêm. Nên là nếu như ai muốn thì có thể ở lại và gặp thêm. Just said about because Ajahn invites anyone in at 5:30. Dạ, xin tùy hỷ thiện pháp của tất cả các quý đạo hữu. Chắc chắn là còn rất nhiều câu hỏi, còn rất nhiều thắc mắc và có thể là với những bạn mới thì sẽ còn cần thêm nhiều cái nền tảng nữa để có thể hiểu rõ hơn những điều các vị đã giảng hôm nay. Nên là các bạn cứ tiếp tục đặt câu hỏi. Tất cả những gì cảm thấy chưa rõ ràng, chưa thuyết phục thì nên hỏi tiếp để chúng ta có thể có được cái hiểu nó sâu sắc và vững vàng hơn. Dạ, xin tùy hỷ thiện pháp của tất cả các quý đạo hữu ạ. Sa